Okay, this is George Shevchuk at uprightguide.org. Today is June 10th, 2016. You could reach me, it'll be provided at the end of the video, but my email address is gshevchuk at optonline.net. This video is about preppers that I don't think are going to make it. I think I'm going to call this video, Why Many Preppers Will Die. The main reason is because preppers' plan is one of isolation and total self-sufficiency. That's their plan. They are forced into this end-time plan because of the belief that in the breakdown of civilization, it will be a dog-eat-dog survival of the most prepared scenario. I submit that this strategy is just a prolonging of the misery, resulting sooner or later in the ultimate death of themselves and their loved ones. The overwhelming probability is that a Mad Max kind of a scenario or situation will develop where gangs will rule. The bigger and the more powerful the gang, the group, the more it will be the big fish eating any smaller fish. Okay, so what to do? Have you ever heard the saying from World War I, there are no atheists in foxholes? This saying opens up a lot of interesting conversation about having a relationship with God. For one thing, should a relationship be based on fear? I say preferably not. It would be much better if a person's motivating factor was love of God, family, and friends, in addition to a desire for order and peace. Fear, however, is better than nothing. If you are intelligent enough to comprehend the possible horrors in a post-civilized world, then it is possible for you it's possible that you just might be intelligent enough to comprehend the horror of life in this world without God, and the horror of facing non-existence, death, because of our foolishness in this life. So for those of you that live in this existence with the inexplicable knowledge that space goes on indefinitely in every direction from this planet, and yet you think the concept of God is impossible, all I can say is buy some more beef jerky, bullets, and good luck. On the other hand, for those of you that recognize the voice of our Savior, Jesus, I want to ask you, what would Jesus do if he was just a man and he was amongst us during the apocalyptic end of civilization that many of us fear? I predict this on the basis of my biblical knowledge of our Christ. I don't believe that Jesus would have any objections to being prepared and not being overly reliant on others. Also, as many prepper websites instruct us, I'm sure that he would be in agreement that we should develop skills that are useful in a post-collapse society. If you don't have a skill that is useful in that type of society, you may seriously want to start thinking about what it is that you could provide in a community, because in my mind, it's only a community that is going to survive and be able to continue to exist indefinitely. There's not much sense in just hoarding a whole bunch of stuff and then just dying when the stuff runs out. Even if you're going to be farming, in a primitive society, it is extremely difficult to do everything yourself. There has to be a certain amount of specialization. If you're farming, you need somebody else to be doing the blacksmithing. If you are responsibilities and duties have to be split up, and people have to specialize and they have to be good at what they do. Otherwise, life is miserable and extremely difficult. So the goal here is not just to survive, it's to thrive. It's to have quality of life regardless of what happens. I believe Jesus would encourage us always to be in a Christian community, which is an extension of our own families and or loved ones and friends. Most importantly, I believe Jesus would want each of us to have a relationship with his and our Father, the Lord, that he himself has. Jesus knew the scriptures, and he was the model of obedience to God. He himself was the model of obedience to God. He was also a model for us in his prayer life and his love and thankfulness. So here is the obvious solution: a Christian community, one that has its own biblical law that would replace the civil law, and a society that gives you strength in numbers, and one that will continue to function in a small, simple society when our big, complex mess comes crashing down. So, when the sky falls, keep your cool, don't lose your integrity or your sense of justice, and always keep God in your life. This way, you won't have to be motivated so much by fear in order to survive and thrive. Well, this is it as far as my notes on this subject, but I just wanted to add one more thing. In a post-apocalyptic society, a lot of people the model is that, we're all guarding our stash of products and food and storage with guns, and we're ready to kill each other and anybody that threatens to take what belongs to us. That's not the Christian model for survival. The Christian model for survival should be that if somebody comes to you and they are hungry and dying, there are certain things that you should take into consideration. First of all, the person that's coming to you, is that person a Christian or a decent person, or is it a person that's coming to try to hurt you and destroy you, that has no values? If he is, then there's a reason to have the gun and to defend yourself. But if you have a person that's down and out, don't lose your Christian heart during the survival scenario. You have to have compassion. It doesn't mean you necessarily have to just give away your food for free. Our government does that all the time, and that obviously doesn't work, and it's contributing to the problem. But if you have somebody that's down and out, find a little job for them, find something for them to do, and help to sustain them. Do the Christian thing. And don't lose your sense of mercy and compassion, because if you do, then in the end, you're just an animal, just like all the other animals that are trying to get your food. We want to be Christian people trying to do God's will and be like the children of God. Otherwise, I don't see no reason to survive. Thank you.